Hello and welcome back to A Room with Perfume, where we talk about all things fragrance. Today we're going to talk all about fragrances that I think are just underhyped. Maybe from a particular brand, it's just not the scent that has gone viral or gets a lot of hype online, or for whatever reason, fragrances that I personally really love that aren't maybe talked about as much. Let me know in the comments. I want to know what fragrances you think are underhyped. Jumping right in, the first one is a fragrance that I fell head over heels for while on my honeymoon in Paris. I smelled this in the Cartier store and bought it on the spot, which is actually very unusual for me. I almost never buy fragrances when traveling. I'll smell something and I'll get home and think about it and order another sample and then buy it. And it's so unusual for me to just pick something up. And I bought this immediately after smelling it. Cartier's Luxuriance. This, if you love like a sparkly, effervescent green fragrance, this is incredible. And I think it is so wearable also for a green fragrance. There's like fern notes in here and kind of herbaceous, crisp notes. It's giving garden fairies or like forest fairies playing by like a little river. It's fresh. It is so refreshing, and it truly does have this effervescent quality that I think is just so beautiful, and I never hear anybody talk about it. But this 10 out of 10, so gorgeous. Even if you don't tend to like green fragrances, I would hope that you would try this because it is just that beautiful. If you like your fresher fragrances, this is gorgeous. Next is a really fluffy feminine floral from a brand that I do see on on YouTube and things, but not, I feel like I don't hear this fragrance talked about as much. Maybe I'm missing videos about this fragrance, but Plume Impression Art Nouveau. This is so beautiful. I think in the vein of like a Roja's Elixir. This is a little bit fruity, it's floral, it's got this kind of like osmanthus, jasmine vibe, but then it's got this very fluffy quality. There's a laundry list of notes. There's a lot of notes in this fragrance, and I'm not gonna go into all of them, but it has this very just like pretty girl, feminine, princessy kind of vibe. It is beautiful. It's slightly powdery, but not in like an overly intensely powdery way. Just has this slight powdery fluffiness that gives it kind of this like rounded, elegant feel. But then it's fruity, it's floral, there's a little bit of sweetness, but it's not super sweet. Nothing dense or heavy about this one. It's very light and airy, and I think it is just gorgeous. It feels ultra feminine, and so I think if you like your very beautiful feminine florals, this is so lovely. I have switching directions. This is Chaubauds Lait de Biscuit, and I think that the reason that I think that this one is underhyped is because I think we've got vanilla gourmand fragrances like Escapade Gourmand and Bianco Latte that have just been hugely like viral, and I feel like I haven't seen this one really go viral. And I think possibly the factor that may hurt this fragrance as far as like getting a lot of hype is that it does have slightly softer projection and longevity because it is an eau de toilette. So that disclaimer out there, I still get good longevity and projection from this fragrance. I do probably spray a bit more than I would with an eau de parfum or just a more concentrated fragrance, but this is one of the most beautiful gourmand fragrances I have ever tried. It's got this ultra realistic like Biscoff cookie or sugar cookie, vanilla cookie kind of vibe with some slight like lactonic notes as it dries down. But it's just this my husband calls it the cookie fragrance because it literally just smells like cookies. Fantastic. I have never smelled this category, like something in this category of gourmand that I liked as well as this fragrance, and I just think it's incredible. Okay, next, I personally think that essentially all of the Sincere fragrances are underrated because it is literally just like my favorite fragrance house ever. I think that Alpers Morillus is just a genius. However, there are two in particular that I personally adore. They don't see talked about almost ever online. The first one is Edition de Veronique. This is not my first bottle, and I have a backup bottle. And this one is over halfway used. So I use this one very, very frequently. This is a musk and white rose fragrance. So it's this clean, kind of like dense, creamy white musk. Not dense, I think that's the wrong word. It's not like a warm or heavy musk, but it's got this like creamy feel that reminds me of a really luxurious bar of soap. So to me, when I wear this, it literally smells like you smell like the most luxurious bar of like a triple milled French rose soap. And it has incredible longevity. It will linger on your clothes until you wash them. It is absolutely lovely. Then the second one that I think is underrated is Lovely Alba. And this opens with this beautiful, bright, crisp, like citrus neroli that has almost like an orange zest feel, like the bitter part of the orange rind. And as it dries down, you get this kind of like solar, warm, powdery feel. So there's a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of just this like warm, powdery, kind of musky vibe, and then also a bit of like warmth and sweetness from that vanilla. This is beautiful. And what it makes me think of is being like on vacation and you've been like basking in the sun all day. You have that like sunny glow, and then maybe you take a bath or a shower with like a citrusy body wash, and then you wrap up in a fluffy white towel. That is the vibe of this fragrance. Next, I feel like Commodity has had some scents get a lot of hype. I feel like Milk by Commodity and Gold by Commodity get a lot of hype on here, but Moss Personal, oh my goodness. This was another one where I smelled it and I had sampled it. I had ordered a sample. And then literally like 10 minutes after sampling it, got on my phone and ordered it. Something about this perfume had such a nostalgic feel to me, and it reminded me so much of like being a kid, being out in the yard and playing. It is this beautiful, dewy, crisp, like citrus, woody, green fragrance. There's petitgrain, there's juniper in here. It's fresh, it's very zesty and bright, and it just is beautiful. It's not like a grassy fragrance. I'm not saying that it smells like being in the grass, but it has a feel of like being a kid. It's summer, you're outside, you're playing, and something about it is so happy, so refreshing. It smells like the outside in the best way possible. This fragrance makes me so happy. I have not tried the other editions of Moss in a while, but I remember them leaning a little bit more masculine, and I felt that this one was more of a unisex fragrance, maybe unisex leaning feminine, where the others I felt like leaned a bit more masculine. Acro Smile, this launched earlier this year. This is such a happy fragrance. This to me smells like there's a store at the Grand Floridian in Disney World, and it's a hotel, and they have like a bath, like they have shampoo bars and bath bombs and soaps and things like that. And this, I haven't been in there in a while, so I guess take this with a grain of salt. But this is a really bright, kind of soapy raspberry fragrance that to me smells like those bath bombs, or like any really just like fizzy, bright raspberry bath bomb. It has this soapy quality that is so beautiful, but it's not too like clean and soapy. I think that the fruitiness makes it fun and unique. I absolutely love this. I think it is so gorgeous. I always reach for this if I want something uplifting. I think also if you want a fruity fragrance that isn't too sweet, this is not a super sweet fragrance at all, and it doesn't have like a synthetic feel to it either. Next is a fragrance from Memo, and I do feel like there are a lot of really popular Memo fragrances, but this is one that I just haven't seen that many people talking about, and I think it is one of the most beautiful fragrances I have ever smelled, and that is Inlay. And this is a gorgeous osmanthus tea fragrance. So it has this like that peachy apricot-y vibe that osmanthus can have, as well as this beautiful, fresh, crisp green tea kind of note. And the tea in here feels almost like a white tea or a really light green tea. It's not a earthy tea note at all. It's very fresh and bright, and to me this makes me think of sitting in like a garden party, like a beautiful garden party, sipping on a like apricot iced tea. That is the vibe that I get from this one. It is gorgeous, and it is such a great fresh tea fragrance that isn't too sharp or harsh. Like personally, I love Oolong Cha, but I would describe that one as being a more like sharp tea fragrance. And then a lot of other tea fragrances are more earthy. And this one is just that perfect balance of like, it's fresh and it's a bit fruity, but it's not too sharp. Now, I do feel like this one actually does get a decent amount of hype, but I still think it's underhyped because I think that this is hands down the most beautiful almond fragrance I have ever tried. This is a like fluffy heliotrope almond fragrance. So it's warm, but not dense or heavy. There's this airy quality about it, and ever since I first smelled this and every time I've ever worn it since, to me this smells like falling in love. Like it just smells like, I don't know, a summer romance. It's happy, it's warm, it's sweet, but it's not heavy, it's not syrupy. I love the way that the heliotrope and the almond combine together in this fragrance. I think that this would also be such a great signature scent because I think it works so well any time of year, any like season. Veron Goodbye, I feel like I don't necessarily see a ton about this fragrance line, but this fragrance in particular, I've tried several from the line and this one just really stood out to me. This is called, I was about to get the name wrong, this is called Jasmine de Minuit, and this is one of the most photorealistic, just pure jasmine scents that I have ever tried personally. And it's the perfect jasmine because it's not too soapy and it's not like funky or indolic at all. It's just like the perfect jasmine, like actual just fresh jasmine. That is what this smells like to me personally. And I think it is just so beautiful. If you love jasmine and you want like a jasmine solo floor, nothing else going on, this is incredible. I love this so much. That is all for today. That is my list. I feel like there's so many others that I could do, but we're gonna keep this short and sweet. So let me know in the comments again what fragrances you think are underhyped and any videos you'd like to see in the future. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.